These 5 lessons I'm about to share with you are going to help you to set up a profitable catfish farming. And not just catfish, but any business you want to do in agriculture. These 5 lessons I learned from a successful fish farmer, and I want to share with you. They are going to bless you, right? So this is someone who has been into the business for more than a decade. She has been doing it for many years. I've done interview with him. The video is also here. You can click and watch so you can hear what he told me when I visited his farm. But that notwithstanding, there were many other things I learned as I went to the farm. So in this video, I want to share them with you so that if you want to also go into this farming, these lessons are will build like the leverage you are going to use for you to set up a profitable catfish farming business or maybe smoking business. So all you have to do is to stay connected and watch this video to the end. So lesson number 1, focus on one product. Now, when I went to Tiki Farm, I discovered that what he was doing there was only catfish production. Now, as a beginner, you'll be interested in many things in agriculture. One of the reasons is that you're checking which one is more profitable. You want to invest your money in which is more profitable. And like I've been always saying it, all businesses in agriculture are profitable. Why are they profitable? Because there is demand for almost anything called food. Now you can set up a pig production farm in a Muslim dominated area. That will make that business not be profitable. But if you set up a pig farm, say in Benue State, or say in Enugu or Port Harcourt, where we consume a lot of pork, your business will be profitable. So there is much to knowing which product is profitable. It depends on you, your knowledge gap. You have to study to know which vegetable or livestock is best for your market. Is the profit will not come from the product, it comes from your knowledge base. So they are all profitable. So don't start in agriculture. You want to do poultry, then you now added goats. Then after adding goats, you saw someone who is doing watermelon, and the person gave you the analysis how much he's making by selling watermelon. Then you now jump and go and buy land and start planting watermelon. Meanwhile, you started with poultry. You can see that, okay, this poultry business I'm doing, catfish is giving more profit. You add. No, don't do that in agriculture. Just pick one or highest two and do them. Build your business around them and see how much you're going to make. Why I'm saying this is because many beginners make that mistake. Even we that were into this business, it takes discipline to say, okay, I'll focus only on this area. It takes a lot of discipline. If not, you'll be interested in everything. And when you do everything, you end up not making anything. So just pick one. I learned this from Tiki. He has been doing fish business for many years. He has not he have turkey, right? When I went there, I saw turkey, have other birds, but he told me those ones they are not his business. He just keep them for maybe home consumption, or he want to give someone. He will just that is how he built his business. Fish and fish alone. 13 hectares of farmland dedicated to catfish only, no cows. If you're making 10 million naira per second with cow, fantastic. TK Enterprise is not interested in it. And I want you to also do that. Pick one product and go all into it and make your money there. Now, another lesson I learned from Tiki Enterprise is that he did not take a loan to start a farm. So you too, I'm advising you based on what I've learned, don't get a loan to start a farm. A loan should only be coming in to help you do what? Build what you have already. So now in my video, you heard what he told us. Tiki took a loan to buy the land where he is now, currently, build the ponds. It was a loan that he took. But when he started his business, it was not loan. He was using his small personal savings, and was pushing the business. But then the opportunity came for him to buy that 13 hectares of farmland, and the land was suitable for catfish farming, is what he has been looking for. So he needed the money urgent, because if it doesn't come with the money, the land might be sold to maybe a real estate company that will fill in the place, the swampy area with sand, stones, and build an upstairs there. So he needed money urgent. So as a result, he know that okay, I already have a product that if I sell, I can raise this money. But since I don't have this money now, let me get this loan and pay. So he did that, did his business, it took him time, but he paid the loan off. And now he has the farm to himself. So you can also get a loan to start a farm. Not to start a farm, sorry, but to expand the farm. Don't get a loan to start a farm, but get a loan to expand the farm. It doesn't matter, maybe you are doing 10 beds and you want to do 1,000 beds. You can get a loan for that. For me personally, I don't like loans, especially when it comes to agriculture. But that does not mean loan is bad. For other people, it has been working for them and it might work for you. But you need to be very careful when it comes to getting a loan to start a farm. Now think long term, or let me say think value addition. This is a third lesson I learned. Value addition. So if you go to Tiki farm, Tiki is doing catfish and he's doing value addition to catfish. Value addition to catfish. So the catfish he has, after rearing the catfish to table size, that is within 3 to 4 months, he smoked the fish. Then when he smokes the fish, he has made money from only farming of this catfish, and he has added value of smoking. It's another money again for his business. So in agriculture, I always tell people that there is money in value addition more than primary production. Now, not like people who are doing primary production will not make money. You make money based on your input and then based on the time. And then someone who is also into value addition will make his own money. Now, these are two different businesses. Tiki explained this to me in the video. He said, if you're a primary producer, you're doing catfish, you already make your profit from that catfish. As you raise them from month 1 to 4 months, and then you sell, you have make your 30% average profit. Now, if you decide to smoke, the profit you are going to make from that smoking is not what to cover up your cost of production. No, you have made your profit from that side. So you're going to make another profit because this profit is not the same. Don't tie them together. So when I talk of value addition, it's just for you to make multiple streams of income in a way. So think value addition. You're into, say, granite production. Why not think of frying the granite, then adding value, maybe processing it to granite oil? So if you're into snail farming, why not think of smoking your snails and selling it dry snail, extracting the slime, doing so many things, selling the shed or grinding the shed to powder, selling to other, you just need to look at value addition in what you're doing. You're a rice farmer, why not process your rice? That does not mean if you process rice, you make more money. No, we're just looking at if you process rice, it will bring you another income. I'm going to that in details. But you have to be thinking value addition. You might not start with value addition, right? Even TK Enterprise, he started with smoking because that was what his parents were doing. So he started by smoking, and then along the line, he learned that farmers were not able to give him the kind of fish he need all the time. And that is why he now added primary production of fish. So don't start with, I want to start primary production, then you buy all your smoking kings. No, you don't need them for now. It's just have it at the back of your mind that you're going to be smoking your fish. But for now, you're just going to rear the fish, make your 30% average profit, and sell the fish to other people who are going to smoke it and make their own money. That one is not your business. Until you have grown, until you have made profit, net profit in your farm, then you can decide to add smoking to it, which is value addition. And then you can package it neatly and do your supply. So that is how you have to think. Now, the fourth lesson I learned is that you must have a long-term plan. You must have a long-term plan. So when I went to Tiki farm, he told me that his farm can take more than 100 ponds. That is big side ponds. We're talking of ponds that can take over 70 tons of fish, right? So he has then a lot. But the land, the 13 hectares of land he has not developed all the land. Currently, he have about 60 something ponds, 63 ponds. Why? Because those ponds will help him to build capacity, knowledge, and then you'll be expanding the project gradually. I think he told me that if he's going to expand the whole place, even the ones he has, he is yet to cover them up. He's here to feed fish in everything. So why go and build more pond? So he want to finish this one. Once he's done, he will build external ponds to cover what he has. So he bought land extra large for it. So if you remember, I always tell people that if you're going into agriculture, buy enough land. You can buy 1,000 hectares if your funds can buy. Don't just say, okay, let me just start with 2 acres. Land will not increase. So Tiki bought all the land that he need now. But the plan he has, he also bought a dam that he can be keeping over 1 million fish. It's a massive project that he's projecting. He can't do it now. He doesn't have the financial capacity or the expertise to do it yet, but he know he can do it. So he's planning towards it in such a way that you can even go to the farm for fun, like tourist attraction. That is what he's building. You can visit the dam, see how the fish is being done. You can have a smoked fish there. Now he's planting trees. He's planting coconut. He's planting avocado. He's planting different species of trees that you have no knowledge about. Why is he doing all these things? Guava. He's planting so many. He's focusing on long term. Now in future, it's true that okay, the orange is not there for him to be making money by selling of orange, but he can also sell. Now the coconut he's planting, his target is not to be selling coconut. Unfortunately, he will definitely sell coconut and make money. Because let's assume he will plant 1,000 stems of coconut. Can he use 1,000 stems of coconut, him and his family alone? No. He's definitely going to sell. And you know how this hybrid coconut produce? He will sell and make a lot of money. So he's looking at long-term perspective. Although he's starting small, his plan, he's considering tourism. People can visit that farm, tour around, pay money. Okay, can I have a watch over your farm? Okay, yeah, $100. People will be happy to pay. He can have a hotel there where you can lodge, spend. So just be thinking long term as a beginner. When you invest in agriculture, have a long term plan for the short term of what you're doing. How would that business be in the next 20 years, in the next 10 years, in the next 50 years? How would that project be? Start thinking about that right now. Right now. So the next lesson I learned is that you should be looking at multiple streams of income. Now, this one is beyond the value addition point that I share with you. It's another lesson I learned. Now, multiple streams of income, like if you go to Tiki Farm, Tiki is smoking fish, his own personal fish, but he's not limited to his own personal fish. He has opened his farm out to people to bring their fish while he smoke for them. And he's making a lot of money. He smoke per kg. They bring it, weigh the fish, and pay him. And his boys smoke it. What he does is buy firewood and they smoke. And he makes a lot of money from that aspect. So let's assume Tiki does not have money to stock his fish or stock his pond with fish and buy feed. But he can be smoking fish for people and making money. So that also helped me. And I tell people who are building factories that when you are building your factory, have a business model that will allow other people to come and use your facilities. I was doing this in my rice factory. And I was making a lot of money. To a point, it was even giving me money more than me producing my own rice. Because I didn't even have the money to produce rice as at that time. So what I could do was that people could bring their rice. Okay, how many tons? 4 tons, 5 tons, 10 tons, 100 tons. We'll do the measurement. They pay us. We use our machines and process rice for them. So if you're going into poultry farming, be looking at, okay, this is my poultry farm, this is my facilities that I've invested 100 million, $500,000, $100,000 to build. How can I allow other people to use these facilities so that I'll be making money from that angle too? Just think multiple streams of income within your business. I'm not saying you should be doing poultry farming and real estate, of which you can do. I'm not saying you should be doing poultry farming and say logistic. You can do all of that. But within that poultry farm, you have to look at how that same poultry will be giving you source of income in multiple ways. It could be that maybe you have a spot where you smoke your fish or smoke your birds or smoke your snails. It's another stream of income. Or you open a door to a certain group of people who doesn't have access to farmland. Maybe you bought 100 hectares. You can be sharing maybe 1 hectare to them to use because you are not using, or maybe highest you're using 3 hectares. Why leave the other ones idle? Just share it to young farmers who don't have money to acquire those facilities, and you'll be making money from that angle. And it's true that you can even build a smoking cane and keep it out for people to come and be using and paying you. So by doing this, you're making money in multiple ways. So you have to think multiple streams of income, because in agriculture, if you're making money in one way and that way blocked, you'll be broke. Just like it happens to me. All my attention was focused on this kind of business. I was not looking at other ways I can be making money. So when I had challenges of flood on my farm, all my source of income was cut off. I didn't have any other way. So you can learn from even my personal life and say, no, as I'm going into this business, what are the other ways that can be making money within this business? Do your calculation well, start right. So these are the 5 lessons that I learned from TK Enterprise, and I want you to also learn. Number 1, focus on one product. Don't do everything. You can't do everything. You will not be successful doing everything. Then don't take a loan to start. Take a loan to expand if necessary, right? Then think value addition always. Look at how you can add value to your product. Then you also have to have a long-term plan. This poultry that you're doing, are you looking at breeder stock? Do you want to be selling day old chick? It's another. Then think multiple streams of income within that same product. These multiple streams of income, we are not saying leave agriculture and go and attach another business to agriculture. No. Within that same agriculture, within that same rice that you're cultivating, start processing. Okay, as you have built your processing factory, open it out for people to come in and use that machine to process their own rice while you charge them. If you're building your garri factory, open it in such a way that other people can come in, use that garri factory and pay you, so that you're making money from selling your own garri and helping other people to process their own garri. So thank you for watching this video, and if you have gotten value, why not share it, like and subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much. I remain Dennison, your billionaire farmer. See you in the next video.